I give the floor to the World Union for Progressive Judaism.
Thank you, sir. In April 2009, the Islamic Fiqh Academy, established by the OIC in 1981, issued a ruling entitled Domestic Violence. This is a significant document that reflects a consensus of leading Islamic scholars in the world regarding the treatment of women. This fatwa represents the dogmatic assertion of the absolute authority of the Sharia over all understandings of human rights as they apply to women and the family, including international human rights conventions and covenants. In it, Islamic states of the OIC are instructed to ignore every article of any convention or covenant which is inconsistent with the Sharia. I will quote some examples from this ruling. Not considered to be violence or discriminatory are the criminalization of homosexuality, a husband forbidding his wife from traveling alone except with his permission and in accordance with the Sharia, legal guardianship over a virgin female in entering into a contract for her marriage. Sir, this applies to the marriage of a girl child under 10 to an 80-year-old man, as in a recent case covered in the media. Polygamy up to 4 wives. Regarding a disobedient wife who has exalted herself against her husband by disobeying him, commence with admonishing her, then sexual abandonment of the wife, and ending with a non-violent beating. End of quote. At the state level, all governments are enjoined to review agreements that have been signed and to reject any articles of international agreements and conventions which are contrary to the provisions of Sharia law, such as advocating full equality between male and female in family inheritance. To conclude, Mr. President, this fatwa has been in circulation for over 2 years, is backed by the most eminent and credible of Muslim jurists, yet it has not yet been addressed by the UN human rights bodies, particularly this Council. Why this continuing silence on the contradictions between the International Bill of Human Rights and the OIC's Cairo Declaration of Human Rights in Islam, which we have raised here over the past 20 years, all to no avail? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Can I remind the Speaker that, we're here to discuss human rights issue, and when we raise issue of religion, I think we have to do so with sensitivity and understanding sensitivities. So I hope that the Speaker would be mindful of this when he takes the floor next time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We understand that when raising the issue of religion and human rights, we need to do so with sensitivity. But this should not surely lead us into a paralysis of self-censorship when certain religious beliefs threaten the universality of human rights. On this sensitive subject, we shall again quote 2 recognized human rights experts. In 2003, Radhika Kumaraswamy, stressing the integrity of the UNHRC and the international covenants, condemned cultural relativism in her final Violence Against Women Commission report, and I quote, "The greatest challenge to women's rights and the elimination of discriminatory laws and harmful practices comes from the doctrine of cultural relativism," end of quote. In 2008, in her 60th anniversary UNHRC lecture, Nobel Peace Laureate Shirin Ebadi declared, "The idea of cultural relativism is nothing but an excuse to violate human rights." Only last week, a popular Egyptian preacher, Abu Ishaq al-Huwaini, confirmed on Egyptian TV what he had said 18 years ago, that jihad still justifies plundering, enslaving, and raping the infidels, for which he provided quotations from sacred texts in justification. He even boasted that Islam allows Muslims to buy and sell conquered infidel women, adding, and I quote, "When I want a sex slave, I go to the market and pick whichever female I desire and buy her," end of quote. And last weekend, a political activist and former parliamentary candidate from Kuwait's government, Salwa al-Matari, expressed her religious opinion to, quote, "revive the institution of sex slavery," end of quote. It is 3 years since a 1.5-hour landmark event occurred at the Council in reaction to our joint statement on violence against women. We had begun by once again condemning FGM, and we remain convinced that such crimes carried out traditionally, but also with official religious sanction, should not be treated as taboo subjects at the Council. The growing phenomenon of cultural relativism should not be supported by self-censorship at the UN. It is surely time for more states, especially OIC countries and NGOs, to condemn here all such barbaric practices against women for whatever reason. We appeal to both the Council and the High Commissioner to reconsider this matter seriously and put an end to the silence. In the words of Shakespeare's Othello, silence that dreadful bell. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I could